Hello everybody, Septa here, and today I'm going to be platinuming Far Cry 3. I've been wanting to platinum this game for about the last year, and I finally got around to doing it. And I just want to say that in order to get this platinum, we're going to need to complete the story, get all the collectibles, and liberate the entirety of the 2 islands. And while the intro plays, I will give you guys a little kind of story recap. I'm not going to go over the entire story because you should play this game yourself, just kind of the trophy missions. But to kind of give a setup for the events of the game, we start out with our main character, Jason Brody, as well as his brothers, Grant, Riley, and then all their friends, head to celebrate Riley getting his pilot's license. And they end up skydiving over an island known as Rook Island. And when they actually do this, they are captured by pirates. And everyone is kind of captured, leaving Jason to be alone with Grant. And that leaves us with the entirety of the game being the goal to just save all of our friends and escape off of the island, cutting out significant work for us. And without further ado, let's get into the actual game. And we start out the actual game by being trapped by pirates and being locked in a cage with our brother Grant, where we meet the main villain of the game, Voss. He is the kind of leader of the first northern island, and after he has a little monologue, Grant, as he has military experience, actually breaks us out, and then we get this kind of intro mission where we learn the basics of stealth and just have to sneak around the pirate camp in hopes to escape. However, he does actually get shot in the neck by Voss as we're about to escape, and this is like super traumatic for Brody, as this is his, or sorry, Jason, I don't know, I call him both, but this is super traumatic for him as he's losing his brother. And then afterwards, Voss does something super uncharacteristic for him, as he actually lets Jason go before setting all the pirates to go shoot at him and try to scare him. So with that, we are running out into the jungle in attempts to escape. This part was actually really stressful, but eventually we are attacked by a pirate, and we have to go through a quick time event. There's quite a few of these in the game, but we actually end up killing him, and Jason gets his first kill. You know, his body count's growing. He probably has killed 3,000 people by the end of the game, by the way. And afterwards, we jump into a river and try to escape, and after we float down, we end up seeing a mysterious arm that's come to save us before we get our first story trophy. First blood for escaping the pirates and surviving the wilderness, and I just want to say R.I.P. Grant. Afterwards, we wake up with Dennis, the guy that saved us, giving us a tattoo. Basically, he is part of the Rikyat tribe, and they're basically a bunch of warriors, and he sees promise in us, so he decides to give us the warrior tattoo and kind of train us up. So this next mission is pretty boring, where we have to do various tutorials like how to buy stuff, kind of some gathering stuff, how to hunt animals because there's crafting in this game, how to liberate an outpost, and which gives you a fast travel point and stuff, and then how to activate a radio tower, which clears some of the fog on the map, allowing you to see better. And after completing this mission, I accidentally started a random hunting mission, and after you complete it, you actually get a trophy, which was decently lucky for me to randomly come across. But as I said, I'm not going to talk too much about the story, as a lot of the missions are kind of just kill people and do random objectives, so I'm only really going to talk about the super fun missions that I enjoy, or the kind of missions that give trophies. But after hunting down all these dogs with a shotgun, we do get our first side story trophy. Bagged and tagged for completing a Path of the Hunter quest. I honestly accidentally started this, but I only have to do 1 in total for the platinum, so there's an entire collectible strand done. The next important part of the story comes when we meet this doctor. I'm not gonna lie, I platinumed this game a couple days ago, so I forgot his name, but he has a mansion and he's like a drug dealer for the pirates, and he actually has one of our friends here. It's actually Grant's girlfriend, and she got cut while traveling, while escaping, so she has a disease, and our task is to go get mushrooms for her. But first I decided to kill this shark, and I got a random trophy. Hunter hunted for luring and killing a predator, except there was a shark, and I gotta dive to get to this cave, and I literally just didn't want to get eaten by a shark, so I killed the shark. And after killing that shark, we moved on into the cave, where we got high off of something, I don't even know. Jason gets geeked so many times during this platinum. Anyhow, after we start tripping balls, we head through the cave, still in search of that mushroom. It'll basically give us the cure that we need, and we do find it and secure it, but this is just the kind of antidote we need to keep her alive. And afterwards, we return to her, and she actually convinces the doctor to allow us to, bring all of our friends that we find, allow us to bring them to his house for safekeeping, and we get our next story trophy. Magic mushroom for returning to the doctor with the cave mushrooms. Now, I also tried to do side stuff in the middle, whether it's grabbing a couple collectibles if I come across them or doing various outposts. And here I actually shut the alarm off on an outpost, then completed it for this trophy. Unheard for liberating an outpost without triggering an alarm. I don't know if that counts as doing it undetected, but all I did was just disable the alarm and then liberated the outpost and we were good. After that, it was back on chugging with the story, but this mission, there's actually a trophy that you can do pretty easily right here, and it's hard to do when not in this mission. Never saw it coming for killing an enemy with a takedown from above a glider, or from above, from a glider, a parachute, or zipline. And I did this in mission 6 by luring the dude over here, as you guys saw, and then coming down and slamming him out. Now, the tattoo that I mentioned at the start of the game is actually kind of how we keep track of our skill progression. Basically, you can get skills with every level up, and they actually progress your tattoos, and we get a trophy for getting all of these skills, as well as getting our first 5, and here's that trophy. Inked up for earning 5 skill tattoos. Back to the main story, we actually end up getting captured by Voss once again, and he actually captures us with Oliver there on the right and Lisa, Jason's girlfriend, there on the left. And he plans to kill us because he really does not like us. Like, our beef with him is so deep. But they end up taking Oliver away because they're not going to kill him yet. And then they try to kill Jason as well as Lisa. So we kind of have to lock in and escape this burning building and save Lisa so that our girlfriend does not get, does not get killed. And afterwards, we escape the building. It's pretty boring, not too difficult. We end up finding a car for one of the more fun portions of missions. A lot of them are just shooting boots on the ground, but this one we actually get to drive a car. Well, Lisa gets to drive a car while we shoot enemies with a grenade launcher off the back. I found this to be a quite fun part of the mission, so I figured I'd include it in the video. And then after this, we go through a little talking, send her to the doctor's house, and get our next trophy. Worst date ever for rescuing Lisa from the burning building. Our next trophy is kind of random. It's just for getting all the skins for the AK. It's really easy to do, but I just decided to get it when I was found a shop. Aftermarket Junkie for buying all attachments and paint jobs for 1 weapon. After that, I kept playing the main story where we met Citra. She is the leader of the Rikyat, and a lot of people find her to give them powers to become a powerful warrior, but she gives us a bottle full of liquid to hopefully go trip balls and figure out what we need to do. And we actually do. We find this man in a white suit and kind of find some importance. She also wants us to go find this ancient dagger for her, and after doing this and talking to Dennis, we know where we need to go and get our next story trophy. One of us for completing the Rakyat initiation. So after that, we head to Bad Town and find this agent. He tells us a lot of stuff, including that Voss isn't even the worst dude, and he gives us a flamethrower for a mission I'll talk about later. But our next trophy actually comes from completing a couple different outposts. A very easy trophy that you'll get as you Rebel with a cause for liberating 3 outposts. I tried to do that one undetected, but I ended up not being able to. This trophy I also got while doing an outpost. It's just to tag 25 enemies with the camera. Very easy. Island Paparazzi for tagging 25 enemies using the camera. But here's back to that mission I was talking about. He gave us a flamethrower to go burn down the drug fields of the pirates, but basically he just wanted us to do a couple missions for him, and then he'd help us track down one of our friends. I also got a random trophy here for collecting stuff in my notes. You get this from picking up guns like I did right here. Jungle Journal for unlocking 50 entries in the Survivor Guide. The next trophy comes from crafting 5 upgrades. These you can do with various animal hides, and I got it right here. Artsy Craftsy for upgrading your equipment 5 times, or sorry, I read that wrong, by getting 5 upgrades. Afterwards, I got a random combat trophy just for killing an enemy with the repair tool, and I got this in the last mission that we had to do for the agent. Improper use for killing an enemy with the repair tool. And finally, after doing those missions, we were able to track down Oliver. This mission's honestly really short, and we just have to snipe some enemies so that he can get to a boat. And then after he gets to a boat, he drives while we shoot enemies off of it, and then we get our trophy after sending him to the hideout. Hands off my stoner for rescuing Oliver from the pirates. The next friend we go to save is Keith, and he was actually purchased by this guy here, Buck. He is a kind of hitman for the main boss, Hoyt. Hoyt is Voss's boss, just to let you know, and we need to a bunch of quests for him. But first, I actually ended up activating half of the radio towers. There is no trophy for doing all 18, but I would recommend doing all 18. But after doing 9, we do get a collectible trophy, so I guess it's technically the radio towers done, but at the same time not fully. Full bars for activating 9 radio towers. Afterwards, we actually find the ancient knife that both Citra and Buck want, and we give it to him. But it turns out he's trying to grape Keith and Jason, so I don't really fuck with that, so I had to fight him in this like trippy kind of fight, I guess. It was pretty fun. This is what a lot of the boss fights are like, just to let you know. And somehow Jason, the tourist from LA, was strong enough to just slime out Buck with relatively no difficulty. And afterwards we can save Keith and send him to the safe house for our next trophy. Retake Wall Street for rescuing Keith from Buck. Afterwards, we were trying to help out the Rick Yacht by saving their prisoners, and then it turns out it was just Voss, as he is still trying to kill us. And this next cutscene that we get is actually one of the most iconic in the entire gaming industry. It's Voss asking us if we know what the definition of insanity is, because he somehow thinks we're crazy for keep trying to kill him and escape, even though he keeps trying to kill us, but we have lots of skills and definitely not any plot armor that's keeping us alive. So this is his next attempt to kill us by tying us to a cinder block and throwing it into a pool of water. Now Jason, since he's got that dog in him, ends up actually escaping pretty easily as long as you hit your quick time event correctly. Then afterwards we get one of the worst missions in my opinion, where we just have to kind of escape, go find the actual prisoners, and retrieve our stuff. This mission's pretty long, hence why I don't like it, and honestly I would recommend stealthing this if I were you guys. And then once we find the helicopter that supposedly has the prisoners, I didn't really understand this part. We tell them to fly up, but it seems like we do it for no reason, because I still don't know where the prisoners are. And then one of these soldiers decides to be an asshat and shoots an RPG at us, shooting us down. And then Voss comes once again to try and kill us, twice in the same mission, yet he thinks we're insane, you know? And then I don't know how Jason survives this, I'm not gonna lie. He decides to put a round in our chest before we actually get buried in a mass grave. Afterwards, we escape that mass grave, and we just have to find our stuff by killing all these enemies and grabbing it. Not too difficult of a mission, I guess, just really long, hence why I think it's kind of annoying more than anything. Then after grabbing our stuff, we do get our next story trophy. Have I told you for surviving the encounter with Voss and escaping? Hello. Next, we go back to the Rick Yacht Temple and meet with Citra. She has us drink yet another fucking, I don't know what's in there, probably a lot of different drugs. But this actually makes us go on some weird, trippy, like, boss fight where we fight against this, like, demon that's in their legends of how their tribe came to be. I don't really understand, if I'm being honest, but we shoot a flaming bow at this thing for a while until we eventually kill it. And after we kill it, we do get, like, some weird cutscenes where we're like hyping up the Rick Yacht to go fight, but the reason we're doing all this is to apparently get the strength of the warrior that we need in order to go kill Voss, as after the disrespect, Jason knows he's got to go. So we raid his compound. Not going to talk about it too much because it's a pretty long sequence and I found it a bit difficult, but it's really just shooting a bunch of pirates. And then we get to the actual boss fight, and the start of the boss fight is shooting these like fake versions of Voss. I don't really understand. I feel like Jason's always on drugs. And then we get to the actual fight, which is pretty cool in my opinion, as Jason proves that even though he's not been a warrior for a long time, he is still a good warrior, as he does the switcheroo and stabs Voss. Now, it is debated in the Far Cry community whether he actually kills him or not. I haven't played all the games, just this one, so I don't know for sure. But he allegedly slimes Voss out, and then we go through some weird trippy shit before getting our next trophy. Taken for granted for killing Voss. After taking out Voss, we just need to find Riley, Jason's brother, and then we can escape the island as one big happy family. Now, how we're going to do this is head to the South Island, because that's where we think he is, and we end up talking to the agent yet again because he's taking a plane to Russia and he's literally just going to drop us off on the way. It's actually pretty fun. It's an easy mission and we just get to jump out of a plane and glide down, and here's that story trophy pop. Higher than a kite for using your wingsuit to reach the southern island. After this, we meet up with the agent's connection, Sam, and he actually gets us to infiltrate Hoyt's inner circle. So this gentleman in front of us is the crazy psychopath that turned Voss from a tribal, in the Rikyat by the way, into the vicious, drug-fueled fucking murderer that he is now, well, was. And basically, as I said, we infiltrate his inner circle in attempts to find Riley, as Riley is actually one of Hoyt's prisoners. Now, this next mission I did not like because we actually are tasked to interrogate Riley. Now, Sam, lucky enough, is able to turn off the cameras for a second, and when he turns off the cameras, we are able to tell him that it's us, Jason, and we are able to tell him that we're coming back for him. But we do have to torture him to keep our cover. But thankfully, Sam did give us that time to kind of tell him that we're not evil. Also, that was Sam back there in the corner. I realized that I did not show him when we met him. But after torturing him for a bit, as I said, we do talk to him before we have to beat him and then dip to talk to Hoyt because Hoyt was watching on the cameras the entire time. And then we talk to Sam because Hoyt invited both of us to go to a poker game, and after we make up our plan to kill him, we get an extra trophy for completing Riley's interrogation. And I honestly felt so bad because it's literally our brother that we had to torture. Afterwards, we have our poker game between Hoyt, Jason, and Sam, and things actually don't go very well in this poker game. We thought that it was just going to be a normal thing, you know, we'd slime him out, whatever, but Hoyt actually kills Sam. As it turns out, he knew the entire time that we were Jason and not some random soldier that we dressed up as. And then he actually ends up cutting off Jason's finger for losing a poker game because obviously he's just trying to show his dominance. And this is actually a permanent thing. Like, you do not have a finger for the rest of the game, which I found to be really cool. And after this, we actually go into the boss fight with Hoyt. I don't know, Jason kind of just crashes out. I don't know, Jason's the GOAT though. And this boss fight is the hardest in the game as it's the last boss fight, but we end up comboing his ass and actually stabbing him 2 different times. I missed a quick time event, so I don't really know what would happen if I did hit the quick time event, but it was pretty cool to stab him in the gut and then take his knife and stab him in the neck. Honestly, getting revenge for Sam as well as for making us torture Riley was well worth it in and of itself. And then when we come to from this little trance, we do get our next story trophy before going to find Riley. Poker night for killing Hoyt. So in our next mission, we go to find Riley, who is being held captive, and we kind of escape. Now, as I mentioned at the start, he recently got his pilot's license, so he actually flies a helicopter while we are on the machine gun to kind of escape. Now, we do not actually get a trophy for saving him, but we do save him. And then afterwards, we go to meet up with the rest of our friends, and it turns out that the doctor has actually been killed, but not by pirates, but by the Rikyat, as they have came and abducted all of Jason's friends, and they ended up sliming out the doctor, even though he was one of the best characters in the game. Afterwards, we head to the Rikyat temple where they make us go through one final ritual after capturing us, but capturing Jason never works as he instantly escaped. And then, as I said, we just have to go through this ritual and go on one last trip until we have to either save our friends or kill them and join the Rikyat. And I end up saving them because I did not just play the game for 12 hours to save them all, just to end up killing them. And honestly, this is a way better ending. Now, Dennis gets mad that we don't want to accept Citra's love and become a Rikyat forever. So he tries to kill us, but Citra sacrifices herself for us so that we can live, and then Dennis gets all depressed. And then afterwards, we escape on that boat that you're seeing in the water, and we end up getting one last monologue of Jason while the credits roll. Now, just to let you guys know, you can come back and do stuff after the credits roll. So after this, we are going to liberate all the outposts, and I'm going to quickly go over all the trophies we get while liberating all the outposts. And after that, we're going to get all the collectibles, and once again, I'll go through a lot of the trophies while we get the collectibles. So this next part's going to be pretty trophy heavy.
For attending the final ceremony.
The first trophy I got was just for blowing up 4 enemies with 1 rocket. If you let the reinforcements come like I did, you can find enemies grouped up like this and then just shoot an RPG for the trophy.
Love the boon for killing 4 enemies in 1 explosion. I did this by like how the guide says to do it is literally just go to an outpost. It says you should do one of the ones I already did. I think it's this one. Yeah, it says to do this one. But I did this one right here, Huber's Farm. Just let one of the guys go to call reinforcements, and then you wait for like the Jeep to pull up, and then you shoot it with an RPG, and you should get the trophy.
We also still had 2 different types of side missions that gave us trophies. The first one being a Wanted Dead, which is basically just bounties, and then after doing it, we got a trophy.
In cold blood for completing a Wanted Dead quest.
And since I'd been saving a bunch of money, I decided to buy some of the collectible maps, as these maps would let you see all the collectibles, and we ended up spending $5,000 in the shop for this trophy.
Money to burn for spending $5K at the shop.
Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't know why, but after this point I kind of stopped announcing trophies live when I got them, as I tried to lock in. But this one is called Heartless Pyro for just killing 50 enemies with a flamethrower, and I got this pretty easily by just doing the outpost. And afterwards I did another hunting mission. Now, you only have to do 1 for the platinum, but you do have to get this trophy called Poacher for killing and skinning a rare animal. So I decided to do the albino crocodile. It's pretty easy, you just have to find the animal and then you can easily skin them. The hunting in this game is not difficult at all, and here is that Poacher trophy. Afterwards, I decide to still go for these outposts. I said that these trophies are all going to be outpost related, and this one I just got 1 shot over 70 meters with the bow. Pretty easy, and that gives us the Toxophelite trophy. Afterwards, I just did these 2 random trophies for falling 100 meters and surviving, which has to be done in the ocean, and fearless or stupid for diving 60 meters. Now, you know that you've gone over to where it's safe when it gets that darker blue, as you can see on the mini-map. And I decided to go even deeper than I really had to for this trophy. And then I just dropped down, and I don't know, the PSN Profiles guide says where you can get this, and there's the free fall trophy, but I just followed the PSN Profiles guide for where it said to go. Then afterwards, I dived down that 60 meters, which it has to be the kind of deeper blue, like you can see on the mini-map, to where you can do this trophy. But then, after going down, you do get the Fearless or Stupid trophy, voice crack. And afterwards, we did that last type of side mission we had to do, being the supply runs, which were just kind of time trials. And after doing our first one, we get Road Trip. By the way, we had to do 3 Wanted Dead and 3 of the time trial missions in order to get skills in total, just to let you guys know. And afterwards, I was on the last outpost where I distracted my 25th enemy with a rock. This is a feature that does heavily with stealth, where you can just press right on the D-pad to throw a rock and it can distract enemies. This trophy is kind of buggy, as I think I've done way more than 25 if I'm being honest. But on the last outpost here, we did finally get to the Rock Always Wins trophy. Now, as I said, this was my last outpost, meaning that after this, it's collectible time, as well as kind of the miscellaneous trophy wrap-up. And these outposts aren't too difficult, if I'm being completely honest. You just have to lock in and shut the alarms off, and we do get the Island Liberator trophy for liberating all outposts. After this, I ended up crafting my 25th needle. The needles are just this game's healing, and you use green leaves to craft the healing ones. And then there is the needle exchange. Also, on the topic of crafting needles, I got the recipe for a special needle and crafted the untouchable one for the good stuff trophy, which is just for crafting a special syringe. Afterwards, I finally maxed out all of my skills, and we got the fully inked trophy for that. Also, the tattoo that you get for doing all of them is so sick. And finally, this is like a couple hour time skip, I got all the collectibles, and the first one that I actually finished was the memory cards, as they were all in fast travel points for the memory to spare trophy. The next one I got was the letters, a little more hard to do as they were more spread out, and after grabbing them all we get the dead letters trophy. Now for the longest one, the artifacts. There's 120 of these in the game and you only have to get 60, which is pretty nice, but they do take quite a bit of time to get, and after grabbing 60 we get the archaeology 101 trophy. Our next random trophy before the platinum is to win $1,500 in poker. Now I thought it was just to kind of get the money while you're sitting at the table and you could keep going, but it's not. You have to get the profit at the table and then you have to stand up. I didn't know this, so it took me like 45 minutes. If I would have known it, it probably would have taken me 10 to 15 minutes because I'm decent at poker. But yeah, as I said, didn't take too long. Just remember that tip I gave. And then after we did that, we just got the trophy Poker Bully for winning $1,500 in poker. Now our final trophy was pretty random. You just have to find this Easter egg head in the sand after you find these hanging guys. I don't really know the reference, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. This is Editing Septa out. Enjoy the platinum pop. Say hi to the internet for finding the lost Hollywood star. And this platinum took me like between 18 and 19 hours to get. And here's the platinum. Mastered the Jungle, the platinum trophy for Far Cry 3. And this is the start of my little Far Cry series. I'm not going to do a challenge or anything, but I do plan to platinum all the games. But I'd like to thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, turn on post notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.